I'm your host, Cam Wells.
In this segment of our show, Lisa Gausman will be telling us a little bit about the latest Ostomy happenings. So tell me a little bit about the latest Ostomy work.
So Ostomy Canada Society is going through some changes with their board of directors. The president has held her term for 5 years and has resigned. She was holding the position without a vice president for that entire time. So now it looks like the organization is going to try to go to a paid position of president as well as vice president, which is a big change for us because we have always been solely volunteer-based. They do have a very good board of directors underneath them, so everything is still working and going ahead for now, and while a search for president and vice president happen, that would be the biggest change.
So, can you tell me a little bit about the overall work that has been going on in regards to raising awareness of ostomies?
There's been a ton of work going on. It's the main highlights of those would be sorry, I'm just trying to lost for words. Organizing more peer support groups so that more people have access to support. We used to have main chapters that people belong to, but now they've gone to these peer support groups so that people in the rural communities can have better access. So support has always been our mission. We have worked hard as well on the disability tax credit to make sure that all people who are living with a permanent ostomy are aware that they are eligible for that, and to be sure that they're taking advantage of that because it definitely makes a huge difference, as you probably know, on taxes.
Yes. So, during the whole COVID situation, how have the support groups been affected?
It's been a bit tough on the support groups because all of the support groups have been face-to-face meetings for our entire 4-year history. It's obviously with COVID, people can't get together. So I know some chapters and peer support groups did do some Zoom meetings, are doing some Zoom meetings now. It was pretty quiet up until about August, really no contact. For myself, because I'm the administrator for the youth camp, we had to cancel youth camp for the first time in history. Obviously, it wasn't safe for the kids to be traveling on airplanes and going through airports to get out here to Calgary, where the camp is run. So my committee, we ran 5 or 6 different Zoom meetings for the campers, anybody who wanted to participate. And sort of the same thing that the chapters are now doing is to make sure that people feel supported and check in on each other's mental health, especially in my position with the kids. Camp is really something that they look so forward to for the whole year because it's a chance for them to be with their friends and to be with people who understand them because they're living with a similar condition. So that mental health check-in is very important.
So, what would you hope for when COVID is passed and work resumes more on an in-person basis?
We're hoping that it gets back to the the way that it was, but even better, I think that this has given everybody a chance to reevaluate what's going on in the organization, find areas where we can improve, and that work is already going on. So we're just hoping for a better organization once we're able to get, back to working normal. Just the awareness is so important. People who live with ostomies, it's still an invisible disability because we're able to hide it under our clothes. So it's just raising that awareness of how important it is that we talk about this and make sure that people feel supported.
So, if you could send any message to the community about the need for this ongoing awareness, what would you say?
Talk, share, seek support. There are a lot of people, myself being one of them, who had ostomy surgery in the 80s and really didn't talk about it until the early 2000s, just because people do not talk about bowel and bladder disorders. So it's becoming much easier to share and open up, and then other people feel supported, feel like they're not alone. It's just raising that awareness.
So, what would you like society to know about ostomies as a condition?
That it really is an enabling surgery. People who have ostomies have suffered with health issues for years, usually, generally, before ever having ostomy surgery, because of conditions like Crohn's and colitis. The doctors try all kinds of medicines and different therapies now with the biologics to sort of really make sure that nobody has to have an ostomy. It seems to be their goal, but if you talk to people in the ostomy community, it's having had this surgery, people question why they didn't do it sooner, because you're so sick, so malnourished, so tied to the toilet, you're not able to travel. Some people are not even able to leave their houses because of fear of accidents. So once you have the ostomy, your health, once you're over your recovery period of 6 months to a year, it really is enabling, and people feel so much better. We have famous athletes who are, have ostomies and are very, very happy to be able to be back doing athletics.
I'd like to thank you for taking the time out to do this, but if you can stay on the line for a sec, that'd be great. Thank you.
My friends, one of the most fascinating things in all of disability life is hearing about what different branches of the same tree are doing. The Learning Disabilities Association being a great example of this. For the fact is, they have chapters in many, many places, and the work carries a central theme to make things better for those with a learning disability. But the staff and the individuals responsible for each branch might take a different approach, but that does not change the fact they are working towards a common ideal, a common goal of just making things the best they can in disability life. As the holidays approach, we all could stand to be reminded that we're better as a community. Times have been tough this year. There's no getting around that. But the fact is, many disability groups are rising to the occasion. They're saying that we need our people to know they still matter. No matter what's happening in the world, no matter what challenges we're facing, united, we are an important part of this great community, part of this great tapestry we call life. That's never to be underestimated. For any person with a disability, it's been my experience that they feel they're facing the problems of life all on their own. Those problems become too daunting and too overwhelming to be reckoned with. It's when they know that they have the appropriate supports, they start to realize there is strength in numbers, there is strength in community, and that what they're going through is not something to be hidden away, it's not something to poke fun at, it's not something to be embarrassed about or to hide in any way. For the fact is, the myths surrounding any given condition can be very hard to ignore, especially when they're coming from a source you might happen to trust. But you must always ask yourself, is this my experience? Do I know firsthand what this disability means? If it means that to one person, how can I be sure that's what it means to the entire population affected? Disability is never a one-size-fits-all condition. Something like a learning disability is a great example. Might affect one person in the sense of difficulty with math, or learning it in a different way, rather. Might affect another person in the way that they learn languages or process written information. But the fact is, with any condition, no matter how difficult or how big and scary it might seem on the surface, there is always hope, my friends. There is always at least some small step in the right direction we as a people can take. But it's when we decide that our pride is not the solution, but rather to ask for help, to trust, and to let ourselves reach our full potential, that we finally start to grow. We're not doing ourselves any favors by saying, I can handle this all on my own, when in our heart of hearts we know we can't. No one is above needing that right support. No one is above needing someone to encourage them or to tell them that they are in fact capable. We all have that moment that we need it. This has been Handi-Link. I'm your host, Cam Wells, reminding you